My special guest today is Master Chief Select Cedric Gaines. And today we're going to talk about his top 5 GOATs. Since he's been in the Navy, I'm sure he had some chiefs that he worked for when he was a young seaman up to now, as a senior chief, about to turn, make Master Chief. So, Ced, again, just your top 5. Let's talk about the 2 through 5, but the number 1 you really have to talk to me about, give a story about, and why he or she is your number 1. And also the bonus round, your favorite officer of all time.
Okay, gotcha. That's an easy one for me, man. But when you talk about goats, I'm gonna keep it in the top 5.
Okay.
I'm gonna keep it because I got a lot.
Right.
But my 2 in no particular order, right? Because it's hard because I see them all as kind of equal on a level playing field, man. Because they really impacted my life, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in no particular order, I'll leave the number 1 for last. So I got your very own Ty Presley.
Appreciate it.
Right,
Salute.
big dog. Always been there for me, man. I learned a lot from you. Still learning a lot from you. You still support me. You still mentor me. Still would get me right if I get out of line. Those are the type of people you want around. Right. You don't want no yes men around you.
Right.
My big bro Red, man, we always talk. If Red see one thing off, he called me immediately, man. He was my sponsor going through the season, and he really take that to heart. So, like I tell people all the time, if you got a sponsor during the season, you should always keep in contact with him. I made Chief in 2014. Me and Red talk all the time, text all the time. So, big bro, man, more like family. And he's been there the whole step of the way. I'm gonna throw my boy AP in there, man. AP is just, man. If you any kind of chief, man, you gotta love AP, man, because AP don't choose favorites, right? Either you right, you wrong, and it don't matter if you close or not. You just gotta take it on the chin, man. And he doesn't stop mentoring sailors. The guy is all day, every day mentoring sailors. I've never seen anybody like him, and he's on sea duty.
Yes.
So he's out to sea on deployment, and he's still putting people under his wing to make sure you bring them up, man. So that's inspirational. He was one of the young chiefs that I knew when I made chief that I followed that got me to this point because I just emulated everything he did, man, because he's just that guy. And my how many number? 4?
Yeah, we got one more. One more for the 2 through 5.
One more. I'm gonna go with my Force Master Chief now, Jason Dunn,
Okay.
man. Jason is he's one of a kind. You never know he was a Force Master Chief if you didn't know his title already. He's just that humble leader, and he always looks for ways to put you in positions to win. Without telling you, he's putting you in a position to win. I've learned more from him at that level, at a CMC level, just by watching him and how he deal with things and how he deal with certain situations, and the fact that he put me in those situations to kind of see how I'm going to deal with them. So he's currently my Force Master Chief now.
You know his rank before he became a Force Master Chief? Or
yeah, he was an FC.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he was an
so
FC.
You got an FC, QM, Red Daniels, AB, and AP, Alcon Park, and me is an AO Master Chief. Man, that's a hell of a top 4.
And you know what? I always say, this is what I say, man. And I got a lot of great corpsmen Master Chiefs that have brought me along the way too. But I think I am and I operate the way that I operate is because I was raised by people outside of my race.
I agree. I understand that.
I learned leadership. I didn't learn it from how to be political in a corpsman world. All I knew was leadership and how to move in the mess because I got that from the alphabet soup of people that took interest in me to put me under their wing.
Okay.
So I got a lot of great corpsman Master Chiefs that put me under their wing, man. But when we talk about all-stars, by the time I put it to you like this, by the time I met those corpsman Master Chiefs, I was already gonna be the person I was gonna be because of the people that I named.
Oh, gotcha.
Because they put me, you know what I'm saying? They instilled that into me. So I was already gonna be who I was gonna be because I learned all the game from them.
Right.
And then I'm gonna last but not least, I'm gonna leave.
Hold that number 1. I'm gonna switch it over. Who's your favorite officer of all time?
That's the easy one, man. She's actually at my penning, right? She's gonna re-enlist me.
Okay.
So she is Captain Select Connie Braybrook. And I met Connie, right? We like family now, man. I met Connie. I was the SEL of Key West Clinic, and I was actually dealing with a rogue OIC, right? We always talk about this during the season. How do you deal with adversity? How do you deal with somebody that you gotta, hold accountable that you report to?
Right.
And that was exactly that case. It was a toxic environment. I was going through it. I was actually at that point, I was at my most stressed as a senior chief, considering retirement.
Okay.
Right? Because I was like, I would come home and I would tell Nat, and like, look, man, this is what I've seen my mentors do. They always told me to, be the chief. You're not there to be like, do the hard job. And if the hard job means you gotta hold your OIC accountable and make sure everybody else is good, then you just gonna retire as senior chief. You ain't gonna worry about an eval. You ain't gonna worry about promoting. But it all worked out in the end. Long story short, that OIC was held accountable. She was forced retired. And when I was at my lowest point of wanting to retire as a senior chief and giving up on the Navy because I had such bad leadership, even as a senior
Right.
chief, right? We go
Right.
through it. Here come Connie Braybrook. She was the relief of the relieved
Right.
OIC. And man, when I tell you that was my first indication of how a relationship between an SEL and an OIC is supposed to be, or a CMC and a CO is supposed to
Right.
be, that was it right there. That was hands down. She made me fall in love with leadership again. She made me see value in myself again as a leader. And she energized me again of just being who I was, man, because I kind of got outside of myself because I dealt with stress every day. Every day I went to work, I had the sailors didn't know it because I kept it from
Correct.
them. I had the battle upstairs, and then I had to shield the sailors because it was World War III, and it was just a toxic environment. But yeah, man, she simply put, she made me want to chief again.
That's
Right?
good.
She was a young commander. That was her first OIC tour, but she made me want to be that leader
Yeah.
again. And I credit her for me still being in the uniform because I was done. Ty.
Really?
I was retired. I was done. I was like, man, I don't need to put up
Right.
with this. And I just, and after me and her had that relationship and me and her did our tour together, I felt the value in it again. And I was back to being said games again. I was back to being motivated, and it took off just like that, man. So she's actually up here at Bethesda. She's going to re-enlist me at my penning
That's what's up,
ceremony, man.
man.
And
That's what's up.
yeah, man, it's just, family for
There you
life,
go.
bro.
What
Family
did
for
you
life.
learn the most from that
Yeah.
that toxic relationship that really kind of like from like a leadership perspective, like what did you learn, from dealing with that?
Man, you know what I learned, Ty? I learned that your job as a chief is to hold the standard by the book. As a chief, you don't worry about if you're going to piss somebody off, or you don't worry about if you're the
Right.
most liked. Your job is to get the job done and
Right.
take care of sailors. In the course of, if you got somebody that's rogue in the court, you do your job as a chief, right? And if that means calling that person out and reporting that person, that's what it is, right? I saw the value in that because I had it's a close second, right?
Mm-hmm.
Admiral Case. Me and him are like this too. He's one of a kind, man, and he's one of the people that kind of like Connie Braybrook. He was the actual CO at the time, so I was worried that I'm like, who's gonna believe a senior chief? Like, who's gonna take the side of a senior chief? I got a captain.
Right.
This female is a commander, and when I tell you that CO and that CMC Jack had my back 100%, they would make special visits down to Key West
Wow.
just to come sit with me and talk to me. And I can remember one day him leaving, Captain Case, now Admiral Case, him leaving. He shook my hand and he was sitting in my office and he was like, "Well, see, me and CMC was about to get out of here." And he shook my hand and he said, he leaned in and he said, "You're gonna be all right. Don't worry about nothing."
That's good.
Yeah, and I just, man, and to this day we talk, we text back and forth, we email back and forth, and that just reinforced my trust in the ward room because not everybody's for the BS. People see when things are wrong and they want the right thing to happen, and if you're in the right, stand up and do the right thing, and you're gonna get the support from it. That's what I learned from that situation. We got too many people in uniform that'll see something wrong and they won't do anything because they're worried about themselves. If I step up, that's going to affect my career. Well, you know what? I had a chief tell me, this same chief that I'm gonna talk about at number one. You're a chief. Whether you make senior chief or master chief, you're already more successful than anybody else. So don't worry about getting promoted after chief, right? You
Right.
already made it. And I just took that to heart, man. I went and did the right thing, and I put myself aside. And in my mind, the outcome was going to be the outcome. And if I needed to retire, and I was happy with my career. And it just proved that you do the right thing as a chief, as a leader,
That's
things work
good,
out,
man.
man.
That's good, man. Good story. Good
Yep.
story. Good story. All right. Who's that number one? The GOAT of all goats for said
Oh man,
games.
all goats, man. And I've named everybody but a Corbin, right? So I might as well keep that streak alive. He was if you remember, he's a postal clerk. Back when they had PCs, right? John Lampkin, man. John Lampkin, PCC Lampkin. He was my chief in Jacksonville.
Okay.
I was an E5. And I got into some trouble as an E5. I had an assault charge. I was a live wire, man. I couldn't let the street live wire. I know, right? A pimper, and I put my hands on somebody in the clinic because they was talking, and the thing, okay, the uniform's gonna save you.
Right.
Didn't understand that, and I was the LPO at the time. I didn't understand. It didn't connect to me that I needed to be bigger and better than what my emotions was at the time, and that think that the mission was much bigger than me being emotional and me feeling disrespected and feeling like I'm not gonna let nobody disrespect me. And I can remember, man, I went to Captain's Mass. I went to DRB. They ate me up in DRB. This is back when DRB was DRB. It was like DRBB, and they ate me up, bro. They ate me up, and I can remember this like it was yesterday. They kicked me out, told me to go back out because I was wrong. So background to the story, right? This person, he did something that he wasn't supposed to do. Right? He didn't like me as the LPO, and he took a childish route. So he forged a like an SIP kit or something. Right? He forged something. I can't remember what it was, but he forged something. It was as if I wrote it.
Okay.
So he took it to the MAs, saying, "Hey, he's a liar. He forged this document," and not knowing that they were going to investigate, right? And I can remember I was on leave, and Chief Lampkin, John, called me off leave. He said, "Hey, HM2, I need you to come in real quick. I got a situation. I need to talk to you about it." All right. So I came in the office. He told me I lost it in his office. He told me I lost it because I knew I didn't do that. I knew it was vindictive. But at the time, I didn't have the faith and the trust in my chief to do what he said he was going to do. Because in that office, he told me, he said, "Look, I don't want you to do nothing. I want you to go home."
Okay.
I got it. In my mind, that wasn't good enough for me. He lined straight out of his office, went to that front desk, and we got to it right there. Right? We got to it right there. And he was pissed because he knew that he could prove that it was forged. I didn't know the inner workings of DRB and the investigations, and I was a young HM2. But at that moment, I tied his hands because now I got a plethora of charges on me. Right? It was something what could have been just dismissed with an investigation on, the person held accountable. Now I got charges, real charges. So I went through DRB, and they ate me up, man. And I can remember they kicked me out, and I can hear them. Like all the mass chiefs in there, it was like, man, he should get kicked out. He doesn't belong in the Navy, blah, blah, blah. And all I hear is Chief Lampkin going in. He's for me. He's a good sailor, blah, 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 blah. And he's a chief going against all these mass chiefs that wanted to kick me out. So fast forward, they kicked me out. He didn't say anything to me after DRB. So I'm worried. I'm like, man, all I know is I'm going home. I'm going home. Fast forward to Captain's Mass, right? This was my defining moment. This is what made me want to be a chief, even as an HM2, as a second class. I can remember the whole chief's mess was in that Captain's Mass. Usually, it's just your freaking chain of command. When I tell you the whole chief's mess, that whole Jacksonville Chiefs mess was in that captain's match. And I can remember the CO at the time. He talked to me. He asked me, of course, I was remorseful, so forth and so on. And he looked at the CMC, and he looked at the CMC, and he said, "CMC, what do you think?" And the CMC looked at John Lampkin and said, "Well, John, what do you think?" And Chief Lampkin said, "I'm telling you, this is a salvageable sailor. This sailor's gonna be somebody, and he's gonna change some lives." And the CMC looked at the CO and said, "You heard it from his chief." And the CO said, "That's that. Drop that captain's mask. No charges, no nothing." I walked away with absolutely the only thing I did, I had to do, and I still got it to this day. I had to do a report on conflict resolution, and I had to present it to the Chiefs mess. So that same Chiefs mess that chewed me up in DRB, when I presented that conflict resolution presentation to them, they were completely different. So in my mind, I was like, "Wait a minute, man. These aren't the guys that I see what it is now, right? They wanted to get me on the right track. They knew it was wrong. They knew I lost it, and they knew I just acted out of character. But they gave me a second chance." After CO's mask, I walked back to my clinic, and I see no lie. I see Chief John Lampkin walking. He's pacing back and forth in the clinic. I'm talking this guy. Khakis on, his shirt is open. Khaki shirt open, the white t-shirt. He's pacing back and forth. He's waiting on me in my office. I went in the office. "Hey, Chief, I just want to apologize." He said, "Hey, don't apologize to me." He said, "I don't want to hear that shit. Only thing I want you to do is be better than this shit. Go prove all the motherfuckers wrong that said they wanted you kicked out of the Navy, and you better go be something." Every rank I made sure I called Chief Lampkin. And the best rank, man, is when I made Master Chief. And I called him when I found out I made Master Chief, and man, he said, "Man, I knew you'd make it. I knew it was well invested for me to stand up for you, and I know you do the same for somebody that deserves it." And man, in my whole career, bro, he's been retired, but I always wanted to impress Chief Lampkin. Even as a senior chief, even as a soon-to-be Master Chief, I always wanted to impress. It's just something about John Lampkin. We talk all the time. Every time I go to Jacksonville, we link up. He have me over. We eat. We drink. It's just something about me impressing. It's like he my chief, man. I want to impress this guy so much, and I want to do so good because he's the reason that, one, I wanted to be a chief. Two, I'm still in the Navy. So, man, he's a big part of who I am, a big part of the reason why I lead the way I lead, and he's a big part of the reason why so many sailors get so many second chances with me in the DRB.
No, man, that's a great story because I'm sure just about 90% of the Chiefs got a similar story to like a Chief saving their career, because I definitely had one. And I was an AO2 as well. So in Jacksonville. So maybe it's Jacksonville, second classes or something. I don't know. But we all have that Chief, man, that saved our career. And we always want to do right by him or her. So yeah, man, I feel you on that. That was a good one, man. That was a good one. Said, congrats again, man, for making Master Chief. I mean, it's just like, damn, I just seen this dude like 3 weeks ago. He was in first class. And now, look at him. So, when's the ceremony? What day is the ceremony again?
It's May 1st at 10 o'clock on Navy Yard.
All right, man. Hey, good looking out, man. Thank you. Thanks for coming through. Giving your top 5 goats. So, again, we appreciate you, Said. Keep doing your thing out there in the fleet, man, making a difference, my brother.
Hey, man, I appreciate you, bro. Keep doing your thing, man. I'm proud of you, too, bro.